what was so different in the first half that was better in the second half?
I'm not sure. I think energy levels in general were better in the second half. Dean Smith better have given them a in half time, because in the first half we were dreadful. We couldn't pass the ball at all. I think, to be honest, in the second half we showed up a bit more, started passing the ball a bit quicker. We had a bit more purpose about our play, especially when Andre Green came on. I thought he was very direct, because Adoma and Balassi were just trying to do all the tricky stuff on the wings. They weren't actually getting balls into the box, which is where we score a lot of our goals.
For the last how many weeks have we just been absolute dog? Excuse my language, but just the performances have been poor, and every week they're like, oh, the performances will improve, but have they improved for the last few weeks?
I mean, it has been getting worse.
It's been getting worse.
I don't
but
understand why we've gone so bad though, because like when Grealish was injured, we didn't play too bad for like the first couple of games, and then we just downgraded. It's because we lost, I can't say his last name, Tenzaibi, yeah.
It's just so many things out there today that needed like correcting. First of all, just little to no movement from the midfield or attacking options whatsoever. We were taking far too many touches in our own half, like messing about. Chester passing back to the keeper, trying to dribble past everybody. The wingers weren't up to scratch today. Balassi, probably the worst game I've seen him play here at Villa Park. Honestly, first half, worst performance I've seen here all season. It's just, I don't know, it's just we're missing something. It's the same story with Villa. We can't put a finger on it. There's just always something missing, whether it's a key player, whether it's like the creativity, whether it's the attacking direction. It's just something we need to figure out what that is ASAP before, we concede more goals and obviously lose these points.
Yeah, first half was absolutely awful. No one was showing for any throw-ins. The corners were going nowhere. The shots that we were taking, I don't think we had any shots on target in the first half. Honestly, I was half asleep because it was that bad. But then the second half started really good with the chance we had early on. I was just coming back up from getting a pie, so that was quite good to see.
Pie or the Villa?
Both.
Where do you start? Before the match I would have took a draw against them because the form they're in, but then being at home you want the 3 points. But why do we do it to ourselves? We start off all right and then make a silly mistake and give them all the encouragement they need, and then we're 2-0 down and we're fighting back, which is great to see us fight back and show some effort, but why do we need to be 1-2 down to put that effort in? I just
don't think they're good enough.
No.
I just think there's a serious... Horahan is good in the midfield three with Grealish and McGinn ahead of him, but when he has to think about the pass, he has to make the pass, he's just not effective, he's not good enough.
The balance of the midfield isn't working at the moment.
I just don't think anything is working. It's so like, I'm sorry, but the Championship is a league, it's a division, and I'm sorry for anyone that's in here, that is the shittiest league ever, and how we are not in that league is a fucking disgrace. The players of the club are putting in the performances. This is not good enough. It's not good enough. Am I being too harsh? I probably am being too harsh.
I think the word's just frustrating, static and complacent really. We just lacked creativity all over the pitch. There was just nothing happening in the midfield, nor with the wide players getting involved at all. In the first half, I think the talking point's going to be the first half and just how shocking it was, and there was just nothing happening from the defence through to the midfield, was there? There was just no movement of the ball sideways. The final ball through to the midfield just wasn't happening, and as much as we give John McGinn all this credit, and in the second half he showed up, he really did show up. In the second half there was just the midfield, there was no one showing for the ball to actually get it into the final third, and it's the final third where you need to be creating.
The CEO's come out of the front foot all this week and trying to be on the positive foot after the 3-0 abysmal defeat, and they all went out on the front foot and said like, oh, there's been positive things in the training ground. Didn't see that in the first half an hour. That was absolutely atrocious. Like Connor and Bjarnason and McGinn does not work as a midfield pair. It's not working. But we haven't got any other options. Who have we got? Grandad and Steptoe in the back. It's not working unless you get somebody in. I know they're probably trying, but it's the midfield is so soft and like there's no sticking the foot in basically and being nasty. We've got no nasty side in our team.
They haven't played together most of the season. Alfred's come back into a team which looks disjointed again. You take Trenzabi out of the team, your defence is not there because there's no one bringing the ball out from the back. It's all long balls, what Alvick does. I'm not pointing him out because that's not what I'm here to do. It's just, it's defensively, it's not right, is it? You can't concede like that.
What about the wide players? Balassi didn't have a good day at the off. I don't like to single people out because I've said it's a team thing at the moment, but on the flanks we don't look right.
No, I think it's with Balassi, it's overconfidence. I think he feels that, you know, he's got the players in front of him, but he hasn't at the moment, has he? The midfield's not there, there's no fluidity. So if you've got a winger who wants to attack, then you're going back. There's nothing through the middle to link it all up, so it's a bit of a mishmash at the moment.
We've said the first half was a write-off rank. What was it that changed in the second half? What was it that we did differently?
I think Dean Smith probably got into him, give him a good rollicking and said, look, we need to go out there, this is Villa Park, and you need to attack, you need to give the fans something to shout about. And I think they responded, and you could see it, you know, Andre Green coming on, fresh legs, back at Villa Park for his debut again this season. He looked good, you know, the whole team looked galvanised again. But it's the draws that are killing us, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
fancy us to win next week?
Yeah, I got to stay positive. Yeah, I like to be positive. I got to try to be anyway. But we'll see. Let's hope not another draw because we can't afford them anymore.
It can't keep going on like this at all. If we keep losing and drawing games, we're going to end up like nearly at the bottom. Because first half we looked like a League One team.
I think the second half, Dean Smith really got into them at half time, but I think at the end of the first half we were getting a bit more momentum, but they started giving away a few fouls, and then Horahan put in the cross obviously for the Chester goal, but he did score, but I thought he was shocking in that first half.
After the first 10 minutes we dropped significantly, and then we had nothing to bring it back up, and I think Chester's the first goal, Chester's one, I think that was just out of luck. I think the goalkeeper just switched off and he just took that chance. I don't think that there was enough effort in the first half to even get that first goal.
Last 5 minutes of the second half, just started pushing for it. We wanted that. When the fans were behind the team in that second half, when we're down, I think that just pushed them on to get the result there.
Do you think the playoff hopes are sinking?
Yeah, obviously they're sinking, but I still think we might be able to sneak into the playoffs if we get a couple of results here and there.
Give your YouTube channel a quick shout out. We'll make sure that goes in the video.
Subscribe to Ben and see the Villa vlogger.
Yeah, good to meet you, mate.
I don't see how in the first half, like, they just didn't look like they want to be there. Like, they look like they want to be somewhere else, 100%. Do you think
they're a bit scared? Because the atmosphere, obviously we go one down, the atmosphere gets a bit negative. Yeah. They seem to get scared.
Yeah, the atmosphere went toxic when we went 1-0 down, and then especially at 2-0 down. You know, they didn't react well to it, and granted we got a goal before half time, and it really did help because it gave us that confidence to go into the second half and actually try and get something out of it. But if you're not showing up, and of course the fans are going to get our fans, you know, we are very quick to turn, unfortunately, and it shows that when we do play well we get behind them, and that gives them the confidence, and it's a complete contrast to where we were 5 weeks ago.
I thought the substitutions brought life into the game because the wingers we had on, Adoma wasn't really getting into the game. You could see he was struggling. I'm not too sure about the midfield still. It's still looking dry because all the players look like they're doing the exact same thing. Bjarnason, McGinn and Horahan all look like they get the ball and they can't find anyone to pass to like a Grealish that we need. So yeah, I don't know. It got better, but it was still a very dry game.
I don't know what Taylor and Hutton were doing through the whole game. They just seem to go up the flanks, and even in football I play, you get told you sprint back if you lose the ball. That is your most important thing. The ball's your baby, you don't lose it. And they just look like they don't care when they lose it, and it leaves the flanks open where their best players, Bowen and Grosicki, they're obviously they're the most dangerous players, and we're not marking them. So it's just poor. Just our football brain is bad at the moment. That's what it is. Tammy's the only person you can see who's got a football brain. He's telling people where to go, where to be, and no one else has a clue really.
You don't need a Marco Bielsa style tactical experiments and looking at the Villa with it. Just smash balls over Hutton and Taylor. It works every time. In the last 2 months, it's all teams do against us, and all the goals they score against us, hard pressed to find anything that goes through the middle. There's just no legs, and they can't play the high pressing football that Smith wants to play. I mean, constantly today you're looking at Smith and he's telling them to push up, and they can't because they'll overcommit and they know they're not going to get back. Centre of the park, it's best of a bad bunch at the minute. You've got Whelan, Bjarnason, Horahan all off form, unless he brings on like a Doyle Hayes or takes the gamble with our air, there's not a lot he can do.
With Dean Smith, again, I'm not slagging him off, but because we're trying to focus too much on trying to dribble and get forward flowing football, we're forgetting about our defensive duties, and as well, we're missing our key centre-back Axel, and we're missing other key players such as Grealish. It's just a case of we need to figure out how to get on without these key players, otherwise we're going to be a squad without any direction, because at the moment we're missing 2 players. With the depth in the squad we've got on paper, we should have no issue whatsoever. We should be able to carry on for life, make it easy for ourselves, but no, we just seem to crumble. We have no backbone.
Bjarnason and Horahan in that midfield, what were they doing? I mean, honestly, the amount of times they lost the ball, the amount of times it was just abysmal to watch. I mean, what made it particularly bad, I don't even think, no disrespect, I don't even think Hull were that good. I mean, they were all right, don't get me wrong, but they didn't need to be at their best to go 2-0 up. We just let them. I mean, yes, we had the ball, but not even their own in their half. We try and pass it. It was like watching Steve Bruce football again, just booting it up to Bjarnason. That was our plan in the first half, was to boot it to Bjarnason.
I mean, we've got to play ourselves back into form. Stop looking above us, and yeah, until it's mathematical, we've got to keep going for it. But we need to worry about ourselves at the minute and start playing good football, and then that should push us up the table. So, because I don't believe we've had a really good run this season, where all the teams around us have, like Hull, have come from nowhere. They've won 6 on the bounce, and it's brought them right up the league. Well, there's no reason why we can't win 4-6 on the bounce, and then you'd like to see where we would be, but at the minute you can't really see us doing it, which is but we should be doing it. So I don't know.
Do you think we've got to start looking towards next season a little bit now?
Yeah, I think if we don't get this year, then I think we'll rocket up the league next season. So doesn't matter this season as long as we rocket up next season.
Well, let's hope we do rocket up next season, mate. I'm not really sure what that means, but let's hope we do it.
Well, if we play well, Grealish comes back, Alex comes back, puts a good performance on, we might have a chance.
We just need to focus for another year in the Championship now. I don't see us having an outstanding second half of the season, to be honest. I think we definitely need to bring in a creative player during January. I know we've got a lot of attacking players at the moment, but when Jack's out or when the wingers aren't playing well, we just have nothing going forward in terms of creativity. We've got players who can score goals, just no one that can create. So we definitely need a left back and an attacking midfielder in January if we have any chance of going up, really.
I'd bench Balassi and possibly send him back to Everton. I think 80 grand a week for what we've seen from him doesn't represent any decent value to me at all. No. And I'd even look, if he's not going to send O'Hare out on loan, give him some game time. You know, Bjarnason shouldn't be in the team from what I've seen today, but neither should Whelan. Lansbury's not fit. Jedinak's seemingly halfway back to Australia, so if you believe everything you read. Yeah. So it's kind of stuck in a rock and hard place unless you bring in someone into the middle. But it's Ipswich, they're not playing great, they lost again today. We should beat them, but we say it whenever we see the team at 2 o'clock. Yeah, that's good enough, but we'll wait and see.
Even now you've got young players like O'Hare, Doyle Hayes, Mitch Clark, who I think should be getting a run in the team, because I mean, come on, Bjarnason, Whelan, Taylor, come on, those 3. I think those young players could at least be as good as the 3 that we've got right now. But on a more positive note, what I did see from those, I mean, Hutton, to be fair, I think he's another player. I think he gets too much stick because I actually thought he was pretty good. I know he's cut a bit narrow in the second half, but I still thought going forward he's pretty reasonably good. He looked dynamic, he's got energy. He just gives us that energy that the rest of the side seems to completely lack, because McGinn and Hutton, they at least play that energy. The other players just, I don't know what it is. We just look so flat since the Stoke match. I don't know what it is.
Some of them are on eggshells and worried they don't want to do something wrong, but by worrying that you might do something wrong, they do something wrong, and then so you might as well play that pass, and if it goes wrong, well, at least you've had a go. But you can see him wanting to do that pass, and then they turn on the ball and then fall over and they're in on goal, and you're like, well, even if you'd kicked it out, it wouldn't be as bad as them running in on goal. So it just seems to be the way way we are at the minute, we're giving other teams chances that we shouldn't be. So,
in my opinion, season's over for playoffs. In my opinion, I'm not too disappointed about that though, because before Smith came in, I just assumed that it was going to take him a while to get going. And the thing is, you'd expect the past few games we've had, these would have happened when Smith first came in. Because if you notice, the first few games Smith had were really good. Borough away, West Brom away and Derby away were all fantastic. So it shows what we can do and what Smith can bring to the team when we've got a fully fit squad. But yeah, I feel like the fact that Tuanzebe can go out and Grealish can go out and then we fall apart, that's scary, because if your team falls apart after 2 players going out the squad, that's not promotion quality.
So yeah, another draw at Villa Park seems to be the way it goes at the moment. But if you're conceding 2+ goals every game, you're going to struggle to win football matches. Bit confused by some of the things I'm seeing at the moment. Tom Julian was sat next to me today at the game, so we'll try and dissect that in the podcast on Tuesday. If you have enjoyed this video, then make sure you're giving it the big thumbs up and comment below with your thoughts. Hopefully Villa will have a more positive game against Ipswich next week. If you're not already subscribed to the Villa View with your post notifications on, then make sure you're doing that, because it really helps the channel grow. We've just hit 14k, so that's another good milestone hit onto 15k now. Thanks ever so much for watching Up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.